let's see here how to write a perfect narrative. What techniques we can use, what techniques we should follow to produce the perfect story. Most of us, when we hear the word story, we understand a longer story, which can be as a novel or a novella, which is not correct, by the way. Story can start from even 3, 50, 100 words till thousands of words, okay? So the length of a story depends on your purpose, if you're writing a short story or if you're writing a longer one, okay? So now we're going to write a short story. What short story is? Any narrative, any type of narration that we can write depending on our experience. So I recommend you, when the exam asks you to write a narrative, be away from like crime stories. Don't write about space exploration. Trip. Okay. So better to write about something you already experienced or you can experience. Okay. So choose any story that can be believable. Any story that can be what? Believable. Don't write something like aliens, for instance. I don't recommend you to write this type of stories. Even in exams, especially English as a first language or checkpoint English asks you to write about a story, something that you experienced already, like a day at the beach, a ceremony you attended, a difficult experience you had. So something that can be or could happen to you in your real life or your daily routine. Fine, let's start our story here. First of all, you should prepare your plan before you start writing. If anybody has any question, guys, just hit the chat box and send number 1 or that you have a question. Okay, if you want to use your microphone, just raise your hand. So here, first of all, before you start writing, just prepare your plan. Prepare your plan. What plan you mean? I mean, what your story is going to be about. Look here at these elements. Number 1, you should decide exactly where your story will happen. Old house or empty building or amusement park. So select the place in which your story is gonna happen, which we name as the setting of your story. So the setting of the story means what? Means where your story is gonna happen. Where and when does the story takes place? It's very necessary to determine where your story is gonna happen and when your story is going to happen. It's very necessary. You will know later why the setting of the story is very necessary. Oh, yes, yeah. Who is that? I don't know what is the name. Yes, about the story. But I prefer not to write about science fiction or even a horror story. But finally, you can choose any story you'd like, horror genre or fantasy or whatever the type of story you prefer. It's up to you. Okay. Then again, characters. Characters is very necessary. Decide who are your character. Is he an old man, a vampire, or even a little girl? So decide who are your characters in the story. Characters can be either human, normal people, Mustafa, Ahmed, Ali, Ibrahim, okay, or even they can animals. So it's up to you also to decide what type of characters you can write. All stories in the English literature use human characters except some type of stories that we name as fable. The fable is a type of stories that depend on animals. One example of fables is some stories you read when you were a kid, the tortoise and the rabbit. And one developed fable is, I recommend you to read this story, guys. It's very informative. Animal Farm. This story is written by George Orwell. I recommend you. By the way, it's a movie on YouTube. Also, you can watch it on YouTube, or you can read the adapted version of this story. Let's go back to the lesson. So again, decide where the story is going to happen, which is the setting. Decide who are your characters. Decide again what is your main idea in the story, what you're going to write about. Will you write about somebody who has got lost? So the story here is going to be adventure story, or you will write about discovering a family secret. So this is a mystery story. Is going to be falling in love with a vampire. So the story is a horror story. It's up to you to decide what genre you prefer to write. I mean by genre here is type of story, okay? Finally, which is one of the vital core points in the story writing, is why you write. What is your problem in the story? Why is there a problem and how can it be solved? Okay, so again, what should I focus on in my plan? Number one, your characters. And number two, the setting, which is the place where the story could happen, in a cave or in the desert, at school, at home, where your story is going to happen, and why you write, which we name it as the problem in the story. Until now, any question about this part?
No.
No, Mr.
Okay, so as I
No,
told
sir.
you, yes. Any question? Or should we go on?
No,
Thank
sir, no question.
Okay, go on. Next.
Mr. So, Mr.
Yes.
So that's the plan of what writing the narrative.
Yes, but you would see now some advanced plan. This is first some top tips to pursue why you write, the purpose of your writing, and where your story happened, what are your characters. But in the next slide, we're going to check here some advanced plan for your story. This is what you should decide before you start writing, okay? Anybody of you knows what is this diagram on the screen?
That's amount.
What you know about this diagram? Anybody of you did see this diagram before?
Yes, me.
Yes, what it was?
It's the introduction, then the rising action, and then the climax, and then resolution, and then conclusion.
You know what we name it? The concept. Anybody of you guys, anybody knows what is the structure? We name it as the plot of the story. The plot of the story. The plot of a story means the sequence of the events. The sequence of what? Of the events. What we mean by sequence of events, we mean order of events, the logical order of events from the beginning till the end. We know any story should include begin, middle, and end. Okay. This structure from beginning to end is named as the plot of the story. And when you write a story, you should follow this 5 stages plot structure. Number one is the introduction of the story, the opening scene of your story. Look at this structure. Let's read it together and identify how the events here are in logical order. Number one, he said here, Cinderella lives unhappily with her stepmother and stepsister. This is the beginning. So the story opened following this introduction, which Cinderella lives unhappily. Okay, then your events should logically develop. Okay, so start to develop your events step by step following logical order, which we name as rising actions. Rising what? Actions. Rising actions means that the event start to what? Rise up, which means develop. Logically, in a story won't stay in the same moment. It should develop, right? So look here at these 4 developing actions, which we name as rising action. Here, the stepsisters prepare for and go for the ball. Ball here means concert or a party. Then what happened later? A fairy godmother appears and provides Cinderella with all she needs to go to the ball. Excuse me, somebody's using his mic. Please, Rosa, mute your mic, please. Thank you. Again, still the rising action, going up, the events going up. Cinderella goes to the ball and dance with the prince. Until now, there is no problem because it's the regular or the logical developments of the events. One point that should put in consideration, which is the top of the events, this what we name as climax. We name it as climax, which means at this point, the events will go to the solution. We agreed that our story should include what? A problem. And this problem should reach its peak, should reach a moment, which we name as the climax. At this moment, the event starts to be solved. Let's define what climax is for people who don't know. The climax means the turning points of the events, the turning points. Okay, after this climax, after the turning points, your events should fall down, which means here is the beginning of the solution, the beginning of the solution. And the conclusion here is, which means the ending of your story. So very simply, your story should follow 5 stages structure. Number 1, introduction. Let's say introduction. You can ignore the complex structure in the middle, but follow the structure, beginning, middle, and end. Simply introduction, the beginning, the opening scene of the story. Rising actions means the events began to develop, the problem began to appear until it reached its peak or its top of events, the turning point, which we name it as the climax. Finally, going down to the solution. Okay, any question about this 5 structure? Now, when you
No, sir.
the structure of a story, now when you how to begin, events begin to develop, reaching the climax and going down to the solution of the problem. Is it clear?
Yes, Mr.
If you have any question, as I told you, just hit the chat box. Let's go further. Okay, success checklist. what I meant here by success checklist, it means the rules you should follow in your story to produce or conduct the perfect story. Number one, use strong verbs and adjectives and also adverbs. Number two, use dialogue. We'll explain each point, by the way, here. Use dialogue. Number three, use figurative language. Number four, use strong descriptive language. Number five, show and don't tell. Then, logical order of the events, clear beginning, clear conflicts, and clear ending. Yes, ya Ammar, your question is how long? Ammar, yes, you can use your mic, I hope.
Yes, Mr. How much is the average rising actions that are going to be used in a story?
You mean the length of lines you write?
Yes. No. Like how many paragraphs of
No,
rising?
the total length of the story, ya Ammar, is about 300 to 350 words, okay? So
Okay.
the length of your paragraphs depends on your organization of the story. In total, 5 to 6 paragraphs.
Okay, Mr. Thank you.
It's not a novel, it's not a long story, ya Ammar, okay? Okay.
Okay.
So again, the success checklist is very necessary. I hope that you capture the screen, okay? I told him that the length is ranged from 250 to 350 words, okay? And for schools, it depends on each school which criteria it follows. Strong verbs, dialogues, figurative language, strong descriptive language, show and don't tell, logical order of events, clear beginning, clear conflict, and clear ending. Let's check if you know these concepts. Ali, can you use your mic, please? Okay. Number one, ya Ali, you know what dialogue, right?
Sorry?
Dialogue.
Dialogue.
Yes, what dialogue is?
I'm not familiar with dialogue. No.
Sorry?
I'm not really familiar with it. I haven't heard it in a long time.
Okay. Anybody can answer what dialogue is?
Yeah, me.
Yes.
It is a conversation between two people.
Yes, perfect. The conversation between the characters. Okay, what else? What is figurative language? Do you know what we mean by figurative language? Anybody know?
Yes, Mr. I do.
Yes.
The figurative language is like the metaphor, the simile, or the hyperbole.
Yes, good job. Some other
Mr. Can I
expressions?
say
Yes,
another?
yes, sure.
It's figurative language means it's a way of expressing something using words, tricks, or realistic meaning.
It's unrealistic, ya Malik, not realistic. Figurative language.
Yeah, unrealistic.
Yes. Figurative language means unreal sort of language, like Ammar said, similes, metaphors, personifications, hyperboles, oxymoron, onomatopoeia, and other forms of figurative language that we will spot the light on later. Then strong descriptive language, show, don't tell. Somebody asked me what I mean by show and don't tell. Anybody can express himself what we mean here by show and don't tell.
Mr. Schumacher, it's a technique used to allow the reader to experience the story through words, thoughts, or scenes.
Yes, exactly, through words. So I understand what the writer intends to convey by using words, images, and thoughts. Good job. Thank you. Khalid,
Yes, Mr.
can you explain more? Can you add what show and don't tell the reader? Show the reader, but don't tell him. What we mean here by show and don't tell.
Use some expressions and adjectives, but not use direct words to show what you want to show to the reader.
Exactly. Show and don't tell, guys, means implicit. Implicit language, implied, which we mean also by indirect. Okay, so it's not direct. Don't say somebody is sad. Don't say that somebody is angry, because this way is what is direct. How can I say this in an indirect way? By showing and not telling. Here, like to say he or his tears drifted through his cheeks. Okay, so now I just expressed his sadness using words by talking or describing the action, but not telling the action. By the way, we'll see some more examples about showing and not telling. As I told you, success checklist is very necessary for you. I hope most of you captured the screen to check if your writing is successful by following the right techniques. Yes, ya hala sir, can you explain from the second one till the end? What is the second one? Oh, the dialogue. Okay, we'll explain it in detail. Look here, because the 6 techniques are already explained. The last step for your success is the correct use of the SPAG. Spelling, correct punctuation, and grammar. Let's see here how I start my story. As I told you, number 1, somebody reads, please. Jasim, you can read?
Can I read, sir?
Okay, read.
One settings. What's settings? Setting. A setting is where a story takes place. It's important to set the scene
Scene.
at the scene
Yes.
at the opening paragraph when and where the story commences.
Okay, occurred. The story occurred. Occurred means happened. So it's very important to tell the reader where your story happened and when. So the setting, simply 2 words. When your story happened and where your story happened. In the setting, you can describe the weather because it's something environmental around the characters, the weather, the surroundings, what is around the character, and the people. You can describe as well the buildings around you, any facilities, all what is related to the place, or let's say the atmosphere. Okay, the atmosphere. This is the setting. So in the story, you should tell me where your story happened by describing the weather, describing the surroundings, describing the people, or let's say describing the character. Okay, next step. Somebody read, please. Characters. It's very necessary to write about your characters.
Can I?
Okay.
Okay. Characters. 2 or 3 characters are usually enough for a short story. Create your characters, the story circling around, and make them different than each other in different ways to make them appeal to the reader. Here is how to make the characters sound real.
Yes, go ahead. How the characters sound real. Number one.
Give them suitable names.
Yes.
For example, Pirates, Captain Big Leg, Scarface Bill, Sly
Sam.
One-Eyed
Pete. Okay, thank you. What he means here, guys, by in your story, don't write your friends' names. Okay? Don't write Ahmed, Muhammad, Hala, Samir, Ali, and so on. But write native names, like some English names. Okay? And better to make your characters expressive. What I mean by expressive is to give the name that have some features of the character. Somebody is angry, so you can say name him as Angry Jack, the Angry Jack, the Artful Dodger. Okay, so try to use real characters, not your friends' names, not Arab names, I recommend. Okay, so now in the introduction of the story, the opening paragraph is gonna describe what? Huh? In your introduction, what should we describe?
The setting and the characters.
Perfect. Setting and characters. Focus on these two elements. Setting and characters. We agreed. Setting, the weather, surrounding, and people. Characters are the people or even the animals. If you are writing a story, depends on animals. Okay? I hope this part is clear. Then describe what they look like and how they move. You can describe the characters in the story. It depends on the situation, not regular or not a random description. Look at this example and let's, Hassan Samir, please read.
Okay, sir. Describe what they look like and how they move. For example, a wizened old man stuffing about the house shuffling about the house in slippers. A giant hairy orange caterpillar creeping slowly along. A 10-year-old girl, rather small for her age, skipped merrily along the street, hair long for hair, flying in the wind.
And the wind. Thank you. If you looked at the short paragraph, you would find some great description for the man or the old man here. Somebody please tell me what or how the man is being described here. Abdullah Al-Hudayr, please answer.
As wise. Wizened old man.
Perfect.
So he is wise.
Yes, he's wizened.
And he's shuffling around the house in slippers.
Okay. Then what description again?
Can I try?
Yeah, yes, sure. What other things are being described here?
Orange caterpillar and creepy slowly lonely.
Yes,
alone.
Perfect. The caterpillar is also described in this scene. Also, another character appears here. A 10-year-old girl.
A 10-year-old.
Yes, rather small for her age, skipped merrily. How he described again the 10-year-old girl. Merrily means happily.
He described the way she's walking.
Yes, perfect.
And how she looks for her age.
Exactly, her reactions while walking. That she
and how her hair was.
What do you think of this part? Her long fair hair flying in the wind. Okay, so also here, what matters here or what focus on here is the description of the characters. Here in the short paragraph, we have 3 characters, the old man and the caterpillar and what? The 10-year-old girl. Great. So focus on the description of the character. You don't need to write too much. Just simple words, 2-3 words to show the examiner that you can describe. You are able to use the descriptive language. Okay, great. Begin our story. Number 1, the dialogue. Please, from here, let's on fire the beginning of the story. Now this is the practical part of the lesson. I should start my story by what? By a dialogue. What dialogue? I am not should. I recommend it's one of the techniques by which you can use or you can start your story, which is the dialogue. Dialogue, as we agreed earlier, is conversation between the characters. Characters are talking. Okay? Yes, yeah, you can do. You can use any word that help the reader to understand very well your characters. So let's see what we mean here by the dialogue. Ammar, read please.
Dialogue. Sharks shouted, the ships look out, hundreds of them. They seem to be heading our way, cried the captain.
As you see here, 2 characters are talking together. Somebody said, shouted the ships, look out. He said, hundreds of them. Then he said, they seem to be heading our way, cried the captain. And we'll see what words exactly we can use instead of saying said. Because most of us always say, said my dad, said my mom, said the teacher. There are some various words to use rather than the word said. Go ahead, Ya Ammar. Ammar, read the second example.
Sure. Hurry or you'll be late, called my mother from the bottom of the stairs. Today of all days, you want to be on time. If I had only known what that day would bring, I would have stayed in bed.
Thank you. Either here, 2 characters are talking.
Welcome.
Yeah, mom and her son. Mom and her son. The first character said, hurry or you'll be late. This is the mom. Then, today of all days, you want to be on time. Guys, for the dialogue, just a hint. Your dialogue should be punctuated correctly and put between these 2 inverted commas, which we name as speech mark. Okay, speech marks. So if you looked here at all original words said by the characters, you would find them placed between the 2 inverted commas that we named as speech marks. As well here, hurry in this part until the word late, as well here in the second line, the 2 speech marks. So when you use dialogue in the story, you should punctuate it correctly. Dialogue is necessary in stories because it makes your story sound live, as if it is real. Okay, so the first technique, use your mics. The first technique to begin your story is using what?
Dialogue.
Why dialogue is necessary?
To make it sound real.
Sorry?
To attract the reader's attention.
Okay, somebody said to make it sound real. Somebody said to make the reader attention. Okay, by the way, using the dialogue is one way to make your story suspenseful. We'll see also how to make the story suspenseful. This is technique number 1. Technique number 2, vivid description, which I think is also a perfect way to start. Vivid description means you use a strong description using descriptive language. Yassine, read this example. Look at this opening of the story. This is an opening scene of a story using the descriptive technique.
A vivid description. The sun was warm on my back as I raced towards the waiting yellow school bus. As I
Nestled.
nestled into the warm leather seat, I was greeted by the friendly voices of other excited children. The look on my face was one of confidence and contentment.
Yes, contentment.
With a jerk, the bus rumbled down the road, and I was on my way into one of the worst days of my life.
Thank you, Yasin. Somebody raised his hand, iPhone. I'm not sure about your name. Yes?
Excuse me, could I read another paragraph if there is?
I'm sorry? Excuse me, can you say again?
Excuse me, could I read another paragraph if there is?
You want to read another paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay, next one. But first of all, let's explain the description here. As you see, he's describing everything around him. The sun, it's first description. So as I told you earlier, you can describe the weather, describe the surrounding. The sun was warm on my back as I raced toward the yellow school bus, as I nestled into the worn leather seat. This is another description for the seats in the bus. I was greeted by the friendly voices. This is the three description about the children. Excited children. This is the fourth description. The look on my face was one of confidence and contentment. With a jerk, the bus rumbled down, strong verb, rumbled down the road. And I was on my way into one of the worst days of my life. Okay, so you can start with a strong description like this one. The third technique, which is the last technique here, here is another description. Last technique is you can start the story with an action. With an action for people who likes horror stories or even adventure stories. Somebody reads the iPhone that asked to read.
Oh yeah, it's me.
Excuse me, what's your name?
My name is Jana.
Jana?
Jana, yes.
Oh, Jana, okay, good name. Start, Jana, read.
Action. An ear-splitting whistle made all the pirates leap to attention. At once they ran in different directions, bumping into one another, scrambling over untidy piles of ropes and tarpaulin, sliding down rickety ladders, all trying to be the first in the queue for lunch.
Okay, good job, thank you. A question here, guys. How the writer of this paragraph created the action? Anybody can answer?
Mr. What's the question
Describing the fast motion of the pirates.
How, the question again, how the writer here created the action, how he makes the event vivid and energetic.
He described how the
the
whistle
whistle
were
and
very
how
fast
the
and
pirates
moving into
reacted.
things.
Sorry, wait just a moment, one by one, please. Yes, anybody of you start.
He described the whistle and he said how the pirates reacted to it.
Exactly, how the pirates reacted. Again, the same question, how he described the reactions. We still didn't answer the question. Yes, the second one who wanted to answer.
The writer described how fast their motion was and how they tripped into things because of it. So he made it really attractive to the reader.
Yes, to be sure about what you mentioned, can you give an evidence? I mean, you should refer to some words that the writer used. What word
The
here?
first one is,
yes, what word you
at once
chose
they
energy?
ran in different directions and then sliding down rickety ladders, all trying to be the first in the queue for lunch.
Good job. The word even here, splitting in line number 1. Split. Number 1, leap. 3, bump into. scramble, slide. All of these words are strong verbs that are used to show the action. Logically, when you want to show action, you should use strong verbs. Also, this rule is coming in the next slide. So again here, guys, you can describe the action by using how the action happen or occur around you. How to do that? By using the strong verbs that describe the action. Who can remind me? Let's recap the 3 techniques that we can start our story with. The opening paragraph.
Excuse me, sir, I have a question. For vivid description, can we use figurative language with it?
Yeah, sure, I'll teach you today 5 techniques to produce the perfect vivid description. Abdullah, could you remind us with the 3 techniques we studied to open your story?
Can I answer?
Is Abdullah here? Ammar, are you there?
Yes, Mr.
Okay, are you here? Could you remind us with the 3 techniques we studied?
Yes, we have vivid description, describing characters.
Yes.
And the dialogue.
The dialogue. Actually, you mentioned or you repeated one. Who can remind us with the yeah, here he said the description. Okay. Number 2, the actions. You forgot the action, which is on the screen.
The actions, yeah.
Yes, it's on the screen. The actions, description, and the dialogue. This is a strong way to start your story with. Okay, it's supposed to ask you now to write a perfect introduction and to show it to me, but as you see, it will be inapplicable here. Muhammad Muhsin, hello. Muhammad, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Are you following? You following us?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Somebody of you asked if can we use the figurative language. Here is how to sound descriptive. Okay, how to sound descriptive. Look at these rules. Number 1, use strong verbs and adjectives. Number 2, using the figurative language. Number 3, imagery, which is one of the figurative language, by the way, but it's a perfect one to use. 4 is show, don't tell. Somebody asked earlier about what show and don't tell. So again, the 4 strong techniques to be descriptive in a story is number 1, using strong verbs and strong adjectives, using the figurative language and imagery, show and don't tell. By the way, this slide is important even in your descriptive writing, not only in story. If you're writing descriptively, you should use these 4 techniques. Let's take them one by one. Strong verbs and adjectives or adverbs. Somebody read, please.
Can I?
Okay.
Use strong verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Examples. Weak adverbs. It rained yesterday. Strong adverb. It rained heavily yesterday.
What is the difference here between
Adjective.
It rained yesterday and it rained heavily yesterday? Where is the difference?
They describe it how
Heavily.
Yes, it described how it rained. So using the adverb heavily is more descriptive rather than simply saying it rained yesterday. Yes, the reader, go ahead.
Okay. Weak adjectives, the forest was dark. Strong adjectives, the forest was dreadful, scary.
Yes, so rather than saying simply dark, I said dreadful and scary. Strong adjective. Go ahead.
Weak verbs, he walked to the store. Strong verbs, he scurried
Scurried.
the store.
Yes, to the store. Okay, read the last one.
Weak verbs, he is slow when he walks. Strong verbs, he staggers
Yes,
when he
staggers.
walks. Staggers when he walks.
Okay, fine, thank you. As you see here, the stronger words always includes meaning. It implies a meaning. Okay, the word heavily shows how heavy the rain was. The word dark is weak, but if you said dreadful, it includes a lot of scariness and also scary. So don't say dark, but it's better to say dreadful and scary. So let's name this slide as say and don't say, okay? Or write and don't write, do's and don'ts. Don't say dark, but say dreadful and scary. Don't say he walked into the store, but you can say he scurried to the store. You can say he darted to the store, okay? You can say he stumbled. Whatever the meaning you want to convey, use strong words, okay? He is slow when he walks. The word slow is very weak, while this word is stronger. It shows how weak the person was while walking. He staggers. Okay, so again and again, use strong verbs, strong adjectives, and even strong adverbs. Then, be emotional. Referring to feelings is very important in the story. You can use some adverbs or some adjectives that appeals to emotions, connected to emotions. Okay, so don't say he answered, but you can say he answered questionably. Sorry?
29 11 تمام العماد يعني فكحه بس اللي مضايقاني ماشي.
Sorry, somebody want to ask. Oh, okay, let's go back again. Using these strong adverbs or strong adjectives that describe emotions, we name as emotive words, like boldly, which means brave, fiercely, strongly, rapidly, threateningly, gushingly, immediately, questionably, and furiously. So as I told you, don't say he replied, but better to say he replied questionably, means in doubt, or he replied furiously. If you said he answered, don't say he answered, but say threateningly. Or somebody arrived, say he arrived immediately. Okay, I hope you understand this point. So try to use emotive words, words that share emotions. Okay, shares emotions. Next is strong verbs like grabbed, snatched, sprinted, scrambled, shouted, screamed, crawled, leapt, strode, yelled, exclaimed, and glared. How can I enrich my language? Simply use any dictionary use any thesaurus dictionary.com. Okay, just you will type the word like say, and the dictionary will provide you with hundreds of strong words that are helpful in your usage. So again and again, strong emotional words, strong verbs, and strong words for the word said. I told you not to always say said, but here is a group of words that you can use instead of saying said. Okay. Asma Al-Gharib, please read.
Grabbed,
Yeah.
snatched,
No.
printed,
The last list here. Some substitutes for the word said.
mutter,
I'm sorry. Yes.
roar.
Howl.
Okay. Mutter,
Yes.
roar,
Uh-huh.
howl, scream,
Good.
mumble, whimper, whisper, squeal, grumble.
Okay, thank you. So instead of saying, my dad said, better to say a word that refer to his feelings. So say, dad screamed. My brother mumbled. The girl whimpered. The teacher whispered, squealed, grumbled. So try to avoid using the word said. Strong language is very necessary in your writing. Any question about this slide?
What do you mean by gushingly?
Sorry?
What do you mean by gushingly?
Gushing. It means like something rushing. Okay?
Okay.
Gushingly means rushed, in a rushing way. Thank you. Should we go on? If you need any question, you can hit the chat box. Oh, thank you. The third part, and I hope it's gonna be the last part for today. A third rule is using imagery. Okay, so again, how to be descriptive using strong words, strong verbs, strong adjectives. Okay, number two, using images, or what we name as imagery. Okay, imagery means what? Using the words that refer to the five senses. Describe what you can see. Five senses, we said what you can see, what you can touch, what you can smell, what you can taste, what you can hear. Okay, so refer to the five senses when you write. Somebody can read this list, please.
Can I?
Names? Huh?
Alia.
Okay, Alia, read. Then
Use imagery, the five senses. Describe what you can see, touch, smell, taste, and hear. 1. Taste. The familiar tang of his grandmother's cranberry sauce reminded him of his youth. Sounds. The concert was so loud that her ears rang for days. Sight. The sunset was the most gorgeous they ever seen. The clouds were edged with pink and gold. Smell. After eating the curry, the breath reeked of garlic. Touch. The tree bark was rough against her.
thank you. The highlighted numbers here, the annotated numbers refers to what? Refers to the five senses. If you want to describe a food, you can use the words that describe food. Here he said, the familiar tang of the cranberry sauce. Tang means like a strong taste of something. When something is tastes strongly, that you can never forget. You can say something tang, the food's tang. 2, about sound, which is repeatedly used in stories. You can use different words that refer to sounds. He said here, concert was loud, number 1. Her ears rang for days afterward. So he used here loud, and here he used rang. Number 3, for sight, what you can see. Describe what you can see using the perfect adjectives, like here, gorgeous. He said the sunset was gorgeous, marvelous, they had ever seen. And when he described the clouds, he said were edged with pink and gold. Okay, edged means like surrounded. So also he described what your eyes can see. You can describe how the trees are gigantic. You can describe how the grass in the garden is eye-catching. Okay, so you can describe anything you can see, anything you can taste, anything you can hear. Then, in terms of smell, what you can smell, he said here, his breath reeked of garlic. He means that it's like an offensive smell that spread of his mouth. Okay, like a dirty smell. Finally, touch. How can you describe if something is soft, something is rough, and so on? He said here, the tree bark was rough against the skin. So the word rough described what? Described what you can touch. So if you had a quick look here at the screen, you would see some words that describe the taste, describe the sound, describe the sight, what you can see, describe the smell, and even describe the touch. Any question about using images or using imagery when I describe? I hope it's clear. Okay, there is the figurative language. Would you prefer to continue it today or to stop and continue it later? The figurative language, you can vote in the chat box. If you want to stop here, please send number 1 in the chat box. If you want to continue, so tell me. Yes. Okay. So we can stop here and continue next time. Thank you. That's all. I got the point. So again, let's recap quickly. Remind me with what we covered today. Number 1, the story structure should following the logical order, beginning, middle, and end. You should follow the 5 stages of the plot, which are introduction, rising actions, climax, falling actions, and resolution. Then, be descriptive in your writing. Use strong language. Describe the character. Describe the setting. As I told you, introduce your story by describing the setting, by describing the place. And we studied 3 techniques to introduce your story. Number 1, dialogue, vivid description, and actions. Then we studied how to sound descriptive. We studied 2 techniques today, the stronger language, stronger vocabulary, and using images or imagery. By the way, thank you for your listening and see you next time, inshallah. You can leave, guys. Enjoy your day. Okay, number 1, be descriptive. From here, the new lesson starts. We need to use strong verbs and strong adjectives. Number 2, figurative language. Number 3, using imagery. Number 4, show and don't tell. Let's start now by one to identify what we mean by each one. We already studied the strong verbs, but let's repeat it just in a hurry. Look at the screen. What we mean by strong verbs and strong adjectives. Regularly when we write, look at the screen, we say, for example, Jack went. Okay, Jack said. Mom replied. Okay, here we used 3 simple verbs. Number 1, went. 2, said. 3, replied. There are different ways to say went or to say go. And there are different ways to say said. There are different ways to say replied. This is what we mean by strong verbs. Anybody of you can help me use different verbs rather than went, instead of say Dad went to the store. Who can answer? Okay, Khaled. So instead of went, now I need to use a stronger verb.
Dad dashed to the
Perfect.
store.
Yes, excellent. So I can use the verb dash, which means somebody moves in a hurry. So better to say Dad dashed or Dad rushed. Instead of saying Dad went, instead of saying I went yesterday, I visited yesterday, I will go. These verbs are simple verbs and shows that your language is weak. Okay, what about the verb said and replied? Who can help me change them? Who can answer? Let me choose. Yes.
Hurried.
No, I need to change the said. I need to change the verb said into a strong. Yes.
You can say whispered.
Good job.
You can say whispered.
Yes. Good. So you can write your answers in the chat box, by the way. So instead of said, I can say whispered. Okay. I can say I whimpered. Let me see your chat box answers. I can say mattered. 4 answers. What about others? Shouted, okay. Asked, no. Shouted, no, okay. Told, no. So most of you just said shouted. Most of you said shouted. And also, shouted works, by the way, same to be screamed, which is better than saying shout. Okay. Whispered, okay, we wrote already whispered. Okay, somebody else said cried, yelled. Good one. Who said yelled? Let me see. Yes, Alia, Malak. Okay, good job. We said yelled. Perfect, thank you. That's fine. So this is what I meant by using strong verbs, strong adjectives, and strong adverbs. Let's try more one. Let's say this example, if we said the place is dark. The adjective dark here is a simple adjective. Send your strong adjectives in the chat box. Instead of saying dark, I can say this place is what? Let me see. Dull, good. Gloomy, creepy, perfect. So we have 3 now. Horrific, good job. Pitch black, excellent. Malak, well done. Who else? Spooky, perfect. Good job. So these words are a relevant way to describe a dark place. To say a place is spooky, creepy, gloomy. I guess Aya or what said horrific. Yes. And other adjectives I'm going to share with you in the next slide. So this what I meant. Dim. Okay. Awful. Dusky. Good job, Khalid. Terrible. Salma. Perfect. Okay. Hundreds of words that you can use. Someone may ask. So what if I don't know these words? You can simply Google by saying synonyms for and write the word you want its synonyms. If you wrote dark, for instance, enter. You will find hundreds of synonyms of these words. I recommend you to visit this website, thesaurus.com. Okay. A lot of dictionaries, by the way, provide you with perfect synonyms and perfect antonyms. Thank you, Noor. Dreadful and scary. Good job. So again and again, pay your attention to how to use strong verbs, strong adjectives, and strong adverbs. So instead of saying for adverb, for instance, he was afraid, or let's say he moved fast. He moved fast. You can use different strong adverbs rather than saying the word fast. Okay. This is what I meant by using adverbs, using adjectives, and using strong verbs. Pay attention to this rules, please. When you write a story, ask yourself if I used strong adjectives, strong verbs, strong adverbs, or I'm still writing childishly. This is one rule. I hope the rule is fine. Number 2. If anybody has any question, yes, good job, ya Malak. Swift is simply, Khalid. Yes, briskly, in rush. Good job. Thank you. Fine. I'm satisfied by your suggestions, and I hope others to share their opinions in the chat box. Sprinted is a verb, Iyad, not an adverb. We ask it for an adverb. Okay? This is one rule to be descriptive. Rule number 2. Here is a group of some emotive words, some strong words that we already read last time. So let's have to read them in a rush. Khalid, read the first list, please.
Boldly,
fiercely, rapidly,
yes,
threateningly, gushingly, immediately, questionably, furiously, dreadfully, pessimistically,
yes,
appreciative, ecstatic, sensational.
Yes, ecstatic and sensational. Fine. Thank you. Good job. So when you write a story, please try to think always about the emotions of the characters. Try to be emotive. What I mean by emotive, focus on the feelings of the characters, either about their thoughts, how they think, or about their actions, and also focus on how they feel in different situations. So how they think, how they behave, their actions, and also their feelings, how they feel. You can say, well, we'll show you now some examples to connect the three list of strong words here. Let's see. Strong verbs like grabbed. Mohammed Mahrous, read.
Grabbed, snatched, sprinted, scrambled, shouted, screamed, growled, leaped, strode, yelled, exclaimed, glared.
Glared. Glared. Okay, thank you. Last list is some alternatives for the word said. Don't write say, say always. Mom said, dad said, Ahmed said. Okay, Salma, you can use this different bunch of words. Read ya, Salma.
Mutter, roar, howl, scream, mumble, whimper, whisper, squeal, grumble.
Okay, thank you. Look at this example. So you can say, for instance, here, Mark roared threateningly. Instead of saying said, because we regularly say somebody said, but a stronger word to say roared threateningly. These two words show how fierce emotions he bear, how angry he is. This is what I meant by focus on the emotions, on the feelings of the characters. From these two words, I can identify that threateningly shows that the character who is talking is what? Furiated, very agitated and angry.
Angry.
Yes, perfect. Another example, dad darted gushingly. Both words I used already one of the strong verbs and one of the strong emotive words. But instead of say dad went to the store, I said dad darted gushingly. Darted means somebody moved very quickly, and gushingly means in a rush. So he is in a hurry. What does it show? It shows that my dad is in a hurry. Maybe he has some appointment. Maybe he's gonna miss, let's say, an important meeting, a flight, whatever. This what made him move gushingly. Another example, we say we glared questionably. Glared means like to look, to stare at somebody. Also glare, it means something is very bright. But as a verb here, it means that when you look very strongly at something, when you stare. Questionably means like somebody is in doubt or just asking. 4, he thought rapidly. So he doesn't have time to think slowly. Finally, we leapt immediately to the cave. 6, the child growled dreadfully. Okay, these are 6 examples to how to use strong words, either strong verbs, emotive words, and some alternatives or substitutes for the word said. Let's practice. We need to change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 1, we need to answer these 5 quickly, please. Number 1, stop that, said the irritated teacher. We need to substitute the word said. Here, we agreed we need to use some stronger words, some substitutes, rather than saying said. Just a moment, please. Yes, again. Mahmoud, who is Mahmoud? Mahmoud, please, can you use your mic?
Cried.
Sorry?
Cried.
Cried. Okay. What about yelled?
Yes, also.
Sorry?
Yes.
Okay, yell is stronger. Yelled, somebody's shouting. Somebody in the chat box said stammer. Okay, even stammered can work. Guys, stammer means somebody is talking in a stoppable way, in pauses. Okay, like to say a word and stop, to say a word and stop. That's what stammer mean. So I can say stammered, I can say yelled, even cried can work. Better one is to say yelled based on the situation, and you can stammer if he's pausing while talking. Number 2, did I upset her in some way? Said the doctor. Let's see, Noor, can you answer, please? Asked, somebody said asked, questioned. Which one is strong? Questioned or asked? Asked, questioned, okay. Somebody else said questioned. Sure, questioned is stronger. Okay, questioned is stronger, especially here. The word said refer back to the question, so he's asking. Okay, number 3, don't worry, I said to her. It was Anne who upset her. So I said to her, don't worry. Here is somebody is trying to assure somebody else. He wants to relieve him, to comfort him. So let's say I explained to her, don't worry, or I whispered to her. Which one is better? Don't worry, I whispered to her. It was Anne who upset her. Or I explained. Both work.
Explain, because Mr. it doesn't say don't worry. Then don't worry, I explained to her. It was Annie who upsets her. It works like better.
Yes. I told you before, Guy, that you can use the relevant word based on what? Based on the situation, okay? Based on the situation. So explained here works, and whispered also can work, but explained is better. Thank you. 4. Which one, Iyad? You answered Iyad today. Number 4, Iyad.
No, I didn't. Okay, 4. You need to get out of here quickly, Billy said to Sean.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be shouted.
Okay, if he's angry, somebody shouts.
Yes.
Yeah, shouts shows if he is angry or even worried. Okay, fine. What if we said matter? What matter means, Guy?
He is worried and he's having a hard time talking.
The way he talks is same as we said here in talking in pauses as stammer. Okay, so matter means somebody is like saying ununderstandable words, some vague words. Okay, yes. So we can say, instead of saying, where is the sentence? Here, said. Instead of saying said, I can mattered, and I can say shouted, also based on the situation. Number 5, last. Let's see, Jana Hisham. Hello, Jana. Jana, hello. Okay, let's see. Ithar, Saad, or what?
Yes.
Okay, answer please.
It's exclaimed. Because the girl seems excited.
Perfect, thank you. Exclaimed. The feeling here is what? It sounds to be excited, so I say she exclaimed. Okay, this is what I meant, guys, to pay attention to the emotive reflection or reaction of the characters and also the feelings of the characters. Try always to use stronger words and stronger substitutes. Next slide. Imagery. Who knows what imagery means? Anybody of you knows what image or imagery means?
Me, Mr.
Making images with words.
Thank you. There's someone, please.
Imagery is to write descriptive
Imagery is
writing about something imaginative.
Okay.
And
You're
in
imagining
imaginary
something.
text,
It's not
imagery
real.
we use
Wait.
adjective.
Wait, Selma. Only one talks, please. Yes, go ahead. Selma, you go ahead.
Yes, so imagery means to use like to describe things or to write something imaginative, like out of this word, like for example, describing something, a magical thing.
Thank you.
And usually in imagery text, we use adjectives and adverbs to describe it more.
Okay, thank you. Let's see other suggestions. Muhammad, okay?
Mr. It's like something unreal and it's like you're imagining it.
Hey,
Like it's not happening in real life.
wait, just guys, I think you got confused between two words, imaginary and imagery. There is difference. The one you all defined is imaginary, okay, which means something fictional, unreal, based on imagination. While my question is about this word, imagery, equals image.
Drawing pictures with words.
Okay, just guys, give just
A picture.
yeah, just give me a moment for Adhan and get back to you.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm back. So again, imagery means we need to draw images in the reader's mind. How can I draw image in the reader's mind? Simply by our senses. Okay, so let's say imagery means I need to use the words, the expressions that appeal to the reader's five senses. Always address.
Can I say them?
Sorry?
Can I say them?
Okay.
It's feeling,
Okay.
touching, smelling, and hearing.
Yes. Good job. Thank you. The feelings we already have.
And tasting.
Use the words that appeal to the reader's smell. If you're describing a situation that have destruction, for example, you can describe the smell of the smoke or the smell of the dust. You can appeal to the reader's sight, what he can see, and also what he can touch and what he can taste. Still, we have one, what it is. Taste, touch, yes, hearing. Okay, what he can hear, it means it depends on sounds. And I recommend you to concentrate on two of them, sound and sight, what you can see and what you can hear. Both are very strong type of imagery. So again, now we said that imagery is what? Using the five senses. Use sentences that appeal to the reader's five senses, like what the reader can see, make him imagine. Can I please mute your mic? Ali, same. Okay. We stopped at, you see the screen first?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Again, we stopped at defining what imagery means. We said that, who can identify what imagery means? I forgot. Yes, Ali.
To draw an image by smell and hearing.
Good job.
By feelings.
Yes, we focus on the five senses. Let's read these examples as they are part of stories. They show how imagery is used. Malak, read number 1.
Yes, Mr.
Read number 1, example 1.
The night was black as ever, but bright stars lit up the sky in beautiful and varied constellations which were sprinkled across the astronomical landscape.
Yes, perfect. What do you think this is? Which one of the five senses? What we can see, as here he described the night as what? Black. And also he described the bright stars lit up, and this also what we can see. Something is beautiful and you can see beauty already. Sprinkled, you see something which is bright as light. Okay, so the words he used here to say something is black, using colors, bright, stars lit up. Say one strong verb like sprinkle, which means something is bright. This what we can see. Let's see the next example and to what feeling it appeals. Iyad, read again.
Hello?
Yes, read number 2.
Okay. Silence was broken by the peal of piano keys as Shonan began practicing her concerto.
Yes, what do you think, Iyad, this is? What
This
image it
is
is?
the sense of hearing.
Yes, exactly. So it's related to what we can hear. The silence, if there is noise or silence, peal means like the hustle. Some noise happened by the keys of the piano. Imagine when you press or tap some buttons, this is the sound of peal of piano. Okay, so this is an image of what we can hear. Write in the story images that the reader can imagine. Number 3.
Sir, I have a question. What does the last word mean?
Which word?
Concerto.
It's of concert, like
it is the same as concert? Okay, thank you.
The concert is the, let's say, the festival itself, but the concerto is like the violin. It's an instrument. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Or also it can be like a symphony, a piece of music that a player play. Number 3. Thank you. Number 3, Jana Hisham. And then Muhammad Khalid.
She smelled the sweet. She smelled the scent of sweet
hibiscus
wafting through the air, its tropical smell, a reminder that she was on vacation in a beautiful place.
Okay, thank you. Who can say this? What feeling it appeals?
Smell.
Smelling. Good job. So it is what? Smelling. Even the waft means light smell. So instead of saying there is light smell there, you can say waft or wafting through the air. Thank you. Muhammad, which Muhammad?
Sir, what does hibiscus mean?
It's a type of trees.
Trees, okay, thanks.
Anytime. Muhammad, no, which one I told him to read? Okay, Ziad, read. Last one.
The candy smelled in her mouth, and swirls of bitter sweet chocolate and slight sweet but salty caramel blended together on her tongue.
Yeah, thank you. This is what we can.
Taste.
Yeah, what we can taste. Melt in your mouth. Swirl means move like a wave or in a circle. Bittersweet. This is description also of taste. Slightly sweet. It's also taste. Salty caramel. This is also, sorry, taste. And so on. All of these tastes that he's talking said they blended together on her tongue. Blended together means they are mixed together. Okay? So I hope now you already ready to use imagery in your piece of writing. Some strong words we can use here that are helpful to you when you talk about 5 senses. We'll send this file to you, and I hope to study these expressions very well. Here there's a list about sight, what you can see, sound, what you can hear, smell, and touching and tasting. This is some meaning of some new words that occurred in the previous slide. I recommend you to study them very well. Okay, identify images in these examples. Hey, hit the chat box and identify what are the images in this paragraph. Quickly, please. Each one of you identify even one image. When you find an image, tell me which image it is, which sense it appeals. Okay, we'll give you 5 or let's say 3 minutes to send the images you find in the chat box. You have 3 minutes from now on. Start. Twinkled sight. Okay, correct. Yeah, Selma, go ahead. Thank you. Others, work soon. Work hard. Muhammad said sound, smell. No. Muhammad, tell me which word refers to sound, which word refers to smell, and so on. Iyad, crackling is hearing. Good job. Twinkled sight. Okay, yes, same as I did. What about others? Flicker, sight, excellent, Alia, thank you. Crackle, hearing, okay, go ahead. Yes, mesmerized. And crackling, spitting, okay, Muhsin. Sparks is a sight. Jana said to smell of toasting marshmallow, smell, excellent, yeah, Jana. Iyad, okay, Salma said illuminating is a sight, excellent. Malak said crackling hearing, good job. Ziad said shadow is a sight, good job. Thank you, perfect. Hey, be in a hurry, the 3 minutes are about to finish. Drift is touch. Drift, you can see, Alia. It's like a wave. Okay, like a stream or a current of water. Thank you. Okay. Malak said twinkle sight. Okay. Jana said toasting smell, crackling hearing, twinkle sight. Muhammad Mahrous. Okay. Ziyad watching sight. Try to find stronger ones. Yes, Ziyad. Muhammad's iPhone. Who is that? Can you use your mic, please?
Yes.
Your name?
Muhammad Midhat.
Welcome, Muhammad. Which year you are?
7th.
Okay, thank you. Illuminating a sight, toasting, we said already. Kissing the faces of the mesmerized. This is a feeling. Okay, by the way, this is one of the figures of speech. Perfect. Good job. All in all, let's go back again. The third rule, so now, until now, how many rules we studied to make our piece of writing completely stronger? We studied 2 rules. Number 1, using the strong words, strong verbs, strong adjectives. Okay? Strong verbs, adjectives, and as well adverbs. Rule number 2, create multiple images in your piece of writing. Use stronger words that appeal to the reader's senses. Number 3 is using figurative language. Using what? Figurative language. We have 2 levels of language, everybody. 2 levels of language, or 2 kinds of language. Either literal language, and this is the regular language we use today. Either in our speaking, okay, as when we speak, we regularly use literal language. Or the second type of language is figurative language. What is the difference? Literal means the language which is real language. What do I mean by real? I mean that what I say is exactly what I mean. If I said I am hungry, it means exactly that I'm hungry. I'm sick, it's exactly that I'm sick. Figurative means what I say is not exactly what I mean. I say something, but, I mean something else. So what I say is not what I mean. This is what I meant by figurative language. We'll see here multiple forms of figurative language, and today we're gonna learn 3, or the major 3 of figurative language. But before we exceed, let's be sure if you already figured out the difference between literal language and figurative language. If anybody didn't understand it, send number 1 in the chat box. We'll start and we'll check if somebody needs some help. 3 types here appeared in this paragraph of the figurative language. One of them is the simile. Okay? Simile means there is a comparison between 2 unlike things. So you compare something to something else. Pay attention, please. The second rule is using metaphor. Okay? So use figurative language in your story. Use similes and use metaphors. Metaphor is also a comparison between unlike 2 things. But what is the difference? Look here at this example. If I said Mark's face, is like the moon. And here, Mark's face is a moon. Both examples here compared Mark's face to the moon, right? But the first comparison compared Mark's face to the moon by saying it is like the moon, as if he said similar to the moon. Okay? There is some similarity. While here he said Mark's face is exactly a moon. It's not similar, but it is what, exact moon or full moon. So the comparison here in the simile used the word like. You can say also the word as or any other substitute to like and as, like the word similar to, or the same as, or as if. While the metaphor say that something is something else. Something is what? Something else. Look at this example. If I said the dog is like a hungry, the sea is like a hungry dog. Okay? What it is? Simile or metaphor? The sea is like the hungry dog. It is, simile or metaphor? The sea is like the hungry dog. Simile. Why? Because we said like. Okay? Because we said what? It is like the hungry dog. Just a moment, guys. Jenna and Malak, hello.
Yes, Mr.
You know who is Jenna?
No.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back again.
Sir.
Yes.
Jana Hisham was swearing in the chat.
I already erased both Jannas. I removed them. Okay, back again. I said the example was the sea was or is like the hungry dog. If I used like or as, so it is simile. What matters to me is to use it in your writing. Compare something to something else. Pay attention, ya shabab. The comparison should be imaginary. Okay? It means it should be something unreal. So if I said Ahmad is like his father, it's not a simile. If I said Ahmad is like his father or is as his father or similar to his father, it's not a simile. Simile means you should compare things that cannot be similar, something that cannot be alike. Okay? Any question about the simile and metaphor here?
No.
Last one. If needs help, please hit the chat box. Finally, somebody volunteered in the chat box and identified what personification is. Okay, personifications, it's from the verb personify, which in turn comes from the word person. So what does it mean? It means there is person in the problem. There's a human feature. There's what? Human traits or human feature. Compared to what? Given? Non-living thing. Okay, so you have human traits These human traits are given or entitled or assigned or attributed to non-living thing. Non-living thing like what? Like my pen, okay? Like the door, the table, the PC, the laptop, any non-living thing, okay? This non-living thing will be given some human traits, some features of people, some actions that only humans can do. Like what? Like if I said smile. Smile is one of what? Of the human traits. So if you said the pen smiled at me the whole night. So this is what? Personification.
Personification. Like the tree was dancing in the wind.
Yes, good job. Good example. If I said the tree is dancing. The tree is dancing. Dancing is one of the human features. And the tree is a non-living thing that does an action which is not of its features. Okay? You can say as well, the pages of the book are, let's say, looking at me in anger the whole night. Okay? This is also what? Personification, because the pages is non-living thing. Looking in anger is one of the human features. Okay. I hope the three figurative language are clear now. Pay attention again. Figurative language means unreal language. Unreal language. Okay. Now I need you to send 3 examples. Okay. 3 examples. Each one of you send a simile, a metaphor, and a personification. Let me see your answers in the chat box. Quickly, please send. We'll write here the task. Send each one of you. Send an example of simile, metaphor, and personification. Start quickly, please. Hit the chat box. Give me a minute and get back to you until you finish writing. Only two sent their answers. Okay, Muhammad Mahrous, correct. Selma. Okay. Metaphor, good job. Personification. Excellent, Selma. Ali. Okay, good job. What about others? Okay, Iyad. Continues. As the stars, okay. My heart with pleasure filled and dance with. This is a personification. Good job, Iyad. Muhammad Mahrous, like thunder, okay. Metaphor is incorrect, ya Muhammad Mahrous. Delete the word like. We agreed, ya Muhammad, that the metaphor doesn't use like or as. Okay, Muhammad, you hear me?
Mr.
Okay. Muhammad Muhsin, okay, like a rocket, good job. Khalid, dance, personification, correct. As fast, simile, okay. Time is thief, perfect example, Khalid, thank you. Okay, fine. Salma, this is easy. Okay, Salma, good job. Thank you. For whom didn't send their answers, I hope that my friend is a donkey. Okay, Muhammad, but we don't prefer actually these examples in writing. So I wish you use different examples. Okay, let's back to the last part of the lesson. Time is money. Yes, ya Ali. Good example. Sometimes also when writing, we use alliteration. And also it's a good way, it's a good technique to make sounds in your writing. Number one, you can use rhyme. Number two, you can use alliteration. Okay, rhyme and what? And alliteration. Rhyme means what? Who can identify? Who can tell me what rhyme is?
Can I say?
Okay.
Rhyme is two words ending in the same syllable, like that sounds similar at the end.
Okay, they are rhyming. Give example.
Like cat and hat.
Okay, like cat and hat. Good job. So rhyming words means the words that have similar sounds or ending in similar sounds. You find rhyme regularly in poetry. Okay, we find the rhyme certainly in poetry, in poems, because it depends on rhyme, like to say sea and tree. I don't care about the spelling, okay, but I care about what? I care about sounds, how they are spoken, how they are read, how they are pronounced, okay? So you can say mic and strike. Both words end the sound ike, ike. And rhyme again is a strong way to use in your story. Finally, alliteration. Alliteration means you repeat.
Starting with the same letter.
Sorry?
Nothing.
Okay, you repeat consonant sounds initially or in the beginning of two words. Okay, there is a condition. The sound is what? Consonant. Okay, so alliteration means...
Sir, what does consonant mean?
Sorry?
What does consonant mean?
Consonant means not vowel. You know the vowels?
A, U, O,
Yes,
yes.
the sounds, the 5 sounds, A, I, E, O, U, these named as vowels. All other sounds are consonants, okay, which is not vowel. So you repeat, you use 2 words, both words close to each other in the same line, using the same sound, like to say beam and bowl. So I repeated which sound here? The sound B. And the beginning of 2 words. Pay attention, I repeat. The repetition here is in the beginning of 2 words. Again, look at these words. If you said cool and quick, letters are different, but the sounds are the same. So I started the 2 words with the same sound K. Okay, mole and member. So try to repeat multiple words using similar sounds in the beginning. Okay, like call quick, beam bowl, mole member, and so on. This technique is named as what, guys, again? Is alliteration. Yes, exactly. This is
alliteration.
Alliteration. Okay. Other technique, which is consonants. So you need the screen, or should I erase it? If you need it, capture it, by the way. If you need the screen, capture it. Finally, the consonants. Also, it's a good technique to use in your writing to repeat the sounds in words. So also here, I repeat consonant sounds, but were either in the middle or in the end. So repetition of consonant sounds in the middle or in the end of 2 or more words is named as consonants. By the way, this gives your story a musical effect. Okay? Like if you said bold and mad, the sound D here is repeated. If you said smirk and dark, the repetition of both sounds here is what? The RK and the RK, which are both consonant. So finally here, after using the figurative language, simile, metaphor, personification, we will use some sound devices. One of them is alliteration, which means the repetition of consonant sounds in the beginning of multiple words. And we use the second technique, which is consonants, which means repetition of consonant sounds in the middle or the end of different words. I hope everything is clear. Yes, dog and fog, heel clear. Roar and bore. Okay, shower, power, flower. Good job. Okay. No, it's not rhyme scheme, Khalid. I just see your message. The example we mentioned is rhyme, not rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme is entirely different. Good job, Yasalma. Thank you, everybody who shared his suggestions in the chat box. Okay, somebody raised his hand, Salma and Khalid, okay? You need any help? Khalid and Salma?
No, we just forgot to lower it.
Okay, Khalid, same, you need any help?
Mr. When I said rhyme scheme, I commented on Muhammad's comment, not on what you're doing. He said A, B, C, C, so that's rhyme scheme.
Yes, you're right now. Yes, labeling letters for the rhyming words is rhyme scheme, correct. Okay, inshallah, this is enough for today. and we'll try hard to meet you next time to finish our story writing section. Any question before we leave?